Alright, Shalom, Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakodash, the bond of the apostles and elders, great millstone rule well, and salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word, truth, and sincerity. This is Rob from Great Millstone, Wisconsin, coming at you with another lesson. The topic of this lesson is going to be solipsism, which is a term that accurately defines the mentality of the elites, you know, and these Americans as well, the people that they also govern. Because the whole mentality or the whole concept around solipsism is basically, I am everything and nobody, and you don't have any regard or respect for anybody else outside of you or your circle. So I'm just gonna get right into it. This is solipsism from the Wikipedia. It says solipsism from Latin solus meaning alone and ipse meaning self, and the philosophical idea that one's mind is sure to exist. As an epistemological position, solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind. So, if you want to know why America is so hell bent on, caring only about itself and not trying to be, what do you call it? Trying to be indifferent to the world's problems, and and America is so hard to work with, as stated by other leaders of other countries, because America doesn't acknowledge anything outside of itself and the people, and that mentality has trickled down all the way to the regular people, that are being governed by the elites of this society. Your everyday person has a solipsist mindset, which is me, only me. I what I do, is known. I exist, and everything else outside of me, I don't care about. You know, so anything that happens outside of America, America really doesn't give a damn. Anything that happens outside of itself, which is the epitome of narcissism. The people in America don't really care. They don't really care about what's going on outside of their own homes, to be exact. People don't watch the news. Um, people don't read. People don't care about world issues. And rather they would rather not even know. They would rather be ignorant to world issues. So they wouldn't have to worry about it. When you go into the scriptures, though, the way America shows this solipsism mindset is by destroying other lands and other countries and other people, and not caring about the damage that they've done, man. And not caring about the consequences either. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." And the reason why they practice, because they have the money and they have the resources, and they come up with all these ideas on how to zap the world of their resources and of its integrity to benefit them. And that's all it's about with America. That's all it's about, is how can I get the rest of the world to benefit me, because I really don't care about the rest of the world. It says, "And they covet fields and they take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage," right? Because, like I said, they steal your resources, and all they care about is making themselves better. They don't care about making the rest of the world worse, because the rest of the world really doesn't exist outside of America. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil." So the Lord is going to devise a bad time for America, which we know is to be the prophecies, which are the race riots, the martial law, the pestilence, the nuclear missiles. So all that's being prepared for America to humble them, so to speak. Because when you go into Isaiah the 47th chapter, America, or that whore that sits on the beast, the daughter of Babylon, she doesn't recognize anybody else. She says she is and none else. She calls herself the Lady of Kingdoms, right? Matter of fact, I am going to go to Isaiah 47 and 7. It says, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, right? So America thinks that they're going to be forever, like Scripture say in Psalms, that their continual thought is that their houses shall continue forever, you know. So they think that they're going to be be standing forever, and nothing's going to touch them, you know. But the Scripture just told you that they didn't lay these things to heart. Now, what didn't they lay to heart? They didn't lay to heart the prophecies, and they didn't consider the latter end of it, which is what? The world, you know the latter end of this kingdom, which is going to end with Esau and America being totally destroyed, you know? And they're not thinking about that because they are walking in the pride in the sense of they don't care about what's going to happen because they think that what they will into existence is going to be the end all be all, you know? It says, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, and America dwells carelessly, man. They think they can go around the world and destroy and take resources, and they're not thinking about any consequences. That's being careless. Somebody that does something without consequences or without thinking of the consequences. It says that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And that's the whole point of solipsism, man. I am and none else beside me. Because when you look at solipsism, I want to read it again. It says, is the philosophical idea that one's mind is sure to exist as an epistemological position. Solipsism holds a knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind. So they think that anything external does not exist. Going back to Isaiah 47 and 10, thou, it's like it, 47 and 8, it says, thou sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. So they think that no one else exists but them. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. So they're thinking in their minds like, we're not going to go through any type of hell. We're not going to be attacked. We're not going to go through the loss of children, which is people. We're not going to go through any type of hardships on U.S. soil ever again, because we are and everybody else doesn't exist. So who would attack us if they don't exist? Verse 9, it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. So now the Lord is telling America, like, hey, you think this isn't going to happen to you? Well, now these things will happen to you in one day. So the loss of children and widowhood, which is death. This is death that's coming to America. They shall come upon thee in the perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So these things are going to come upon you because you've been doing sorcery. You've been doing witchcraft. You've been destroying and spoiling the apple of the Lord's eye, man. Which is the nation of Israel. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Going back to solipsism. None seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And that mentality has perverted them, man. And you go into the word perverted. Go into this word perverted here. Shawab. Which says to turn back or to go back. Of dying, of human relations, of spiritual relations, to turn back. Of inanimate things and repetition. And what have they been turning back to? To turn against. This is to turn against, So what have they been turning against? They've been turning against the Heavenly Father, man. They've been turning against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So that mentality has perverted them, man. Meaning it has turned them against. Scroll back up here. It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. Because America isn't going to know from where it came from, because their whole mentality is nobody's going to dare do anything to us. you know. So when it comes, they're gonna be like, you know, they're gonna be in confusion. They're gonna be surprised, like, oh snap, what's happening? You know, it says the mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. You know, because it's going to come completely out of nowhere. You know, it says, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so, be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. You know, so now they're gonna have to use everything in their arsenal to try and survive, man. Which they will. But the thing is that the Lord is the Lord has set up these prophecies in succession to where America has no choice but to be destroyed. You know, whether they like it, believe it, or understand it or not, you know, because of the multitude of thy sin, of their sins, man, that reach up to heaven, you know, for the mentality, you know, that they are and none beside them, man. You know, this is Psalm 73 and 8. It says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily, you know, and this is concerning the oppression that they bring to other societies in the world, man. You know, this is concerning the oppression that they profanely commit on everybody else. Concerning the oppression that other nations commit on other nations, you know, they're the first ones to speak up and say that this is wrong and that this is a violation of international law, you know, and the war and international war law. But when it comes to something that they've been doing, actively doing to a nation or a group of people, they speak wickedly concerning it. They act like it's not even there. Like they act like this is what's supposed to happen, you know, and they have divine right to do this. You know, it says they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. You know, and they do set their tongues against the heavens. You know, by saying things like the Most High doesn't exist, you can worship Satan, you can worship any god or deity that you want, you can do what thou wilt. You know, you don't have to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and so on. You know, and their tongue walketh through the earth. You know, because their tongue is an instrument of their tongue is an instrument of spreading their philosophies, man. You know, through the witchcraft medium, the television, you know, the computers, the social media. America is spreading its poison like wildfire, man. It says, therefore, his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. It says, and they say, how doth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? So now they're saying, hey, how does the Most High know what we're doing? You know, because they don't believe in the Most High. Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world; they increase in riches. You know, and the ungodly that prosper in the world and that increase in riches are right here in America, man. You know, the so-called elites, the top ones in this government that rule these people, man. You know, I was reading an article about about uh about the parallels between Rome and America, and one bullet point that stuck out to me was it said that Rome believed that all things evil and vile can't, you know, I mean, they believed that all things came from Rome, including everything that was evil and vile, man. And that's what America believes, that all things come from them. But the highlighted point is everything that's evil and vile also comes from Rome, you know, which is modern day America. This hence why America has to be destroyed, man, with a sword of destruction, you know. This is Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 16. It says, thy terribleness hath deceived thee in the pride of thine heart, you know. So just because America has the power to put any nation in the dirt, it's deceiving their mentality, man. They think that nobody can oppose them, you know, and that's simply not the truth anymore because everybody has something called thermonuclear missiles, man. Everybody has the same technology. Everybody has the same resources now, you know, but they still think that they can't be touched. It says, O thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. You know, so even though you have this technology to make yourself as high as you want, you got your drone technology, you got your satellites, you know, your Lord is still going to bring you down, meaning humble you, man. Because the point is the pride. That's the subject of this verse is the pride. And the Lord is going to bring you down, meaning humbling you. It says, also Edom shall be a desolation. Every one that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, man. So this is America's future. You're going to be a desolation, man. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. So America's going to be totally destroyed and finished off by thermonuclear fire, you know, just like it was in Sodom and Gomorrah and the other 5 cities, man. But the scriptures tell you that it would be it's going to be worse for that city than it was for Sodom and Gomorrah, man. And that city is talking about daughter of Babylon, you know. So this place is going to be destroyed with a sword of destruction, no matter how the American people think, thinking that they can't be touched and that America can never be destroyed and that America is going to go on forever. This mentality of solipsism, that nobody exists but us, is going to be broken down and is going to be burnt up like the chaff it is, man. You know. So with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone who rule well. And salutations to the brothers on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and sincerity, and their teaching prophecy, man. Shalom.